Hey guys, and how's it going? Hey, I picked up this outboard actually a couple of years ago. For those who don't know, one of my favorite pastimes is kind of going around at yard selling on Saturday mornings and seeing what I could dig up, and generally look for anything that's kind of gas powered. And this is one of the things that was there. It was an outboard, and it seemed kind of cheap for what it was. They had $50 on it. First time I've ever seen anybody write out dollars on a price too. But as I was looking at it, the guy came over and said, he goes, "That thing has been the bane of my existence." He goes, "Just being honest with you, it would run, die. I've never been able to figure it out. I've taken it all apart several times." And he goes, "I've just given up on it." And without me saying anything else, he goes, "You want it for 20 bucks? You can take it." So he really wanted it gone. So we have it again. It's been sitting up in the rafters for a couple of years, and I figured maybe we're getting into the warmer weather. Might be a good time to try to get into it. Has some cobwebs kind of forming on it. This is something that you would use like on the back of a rowboat. It's got its own self-contained fuel tank, and I think you could do an external one too. Yeah, right there. It's got a dead man switch. I think that's what this red cord is. You hook it to you. If you fall off the boat, it shuts the motor off so the boat doesn't leave you. I'm guessing like late 90s. I'm sure we can find a number on it somewhere to go look it up, but generally I think the stripe on the tanks, I know on the older motors every year they changed the color of the logo and the coloring of the color of the cover would denote the years, especially on like the 50s and 60s stuff. So possibly it's the same with that. It looks pretty good. It doesn't look too beat up. The propeller does not look like it's totally chewed up. The skeg looks okay in place. And who knows? You know, the thing is, he said that it had it all apart several times. That a little bit of a that could be a little bit discerning, but no promises on us trying to figure out if we can figure out what's wrong with it and or get it running. But I figure we'll go have some fun with it and see what we can do. All right, without further ado, let's get you in a stand. Let's get the cover off it and see what we got. Yeah, I don't even know if they put it away with fuel in it or not. We have to get rid of the gas cap cover off, I think. I would think. And I might be able to pull that right out of there. And there should be a lever on the cover somewhere that locks it in place. Yeah, it looks like right here. So, bee's nest come flying out of it. Coming? Shimmy it forward, I think. There it goes. Oh. Looks pretty clean. No mouse nest or nothing in it either. Good. Yeah, I think he even said he had like the cylinder head and stuff off of it too, which is like really getting into it. Let's see if there's anything that pops out right away to us. We got the throttle. Should be on here. Tell that's been apart a couple of times. It shouldn't have an air cleaner, just maybe a diffuser. Let's get that out of our way. A couple of screws. Yeah, there's generally not much use for an air cleaner on something that's in a clean environment, which is, you know, you're pretty much running in water, so there's not that much dust in the water. If there is, you need a better pond. Snowblowers too, so you might need a snowblower doesn't have it. Plus, like if you did a paper filament, if it got wet, it would choke it off and kill it. Nothing there. All right. Let's go take a peek inside that fuel tank, see if there's anything left behind. Yeah, there's some remnants of something in there. It doesn't look terrible. If you tell, it has the two-stroke oil mixed in it, looking red like that. So you could probably take that tank right off and clean it. But before we do that, let's get the plug out of it and see if we got spark. Actually, let's just take that gas tank right out of our way. It's been, is that broken? Yeah. It's got to come off and get cleaned anyway, so just take these two off the front. Should be able to lift off with the fuel line going to it. Yeah, these are actually, you know, fairly expensive. It could almost be as expensive as like the larger, like say like a 40 horse, something that's, you know, not meant to lift off the back of a boat and, you know, put it in your trunk, and you want to call it carrying a suitcase. A A lot of stuff's like that. Even like, you know, sometimes tractors and skid steers and things. Once they get so big, they're a burden to move around. The smaller stuff actually has a better value. It looks like we have a fuel line on the other end. Yeah, I'd say like, you know, all those like 5 horse, you know, somewhere between 4 and 10 horsepower, they're all like 500 to 1,500 bucks. Let's get that off right there. It's a little mangaloid. Piss gas out when I do it too. Alright, that's out of our way. Doesn't look too bad. Definitely, it was probably like that bottled fuel. You know, like the, what they call that. Buy it in a can at like Home Depot. See if that settles any water or dirt out. Now somebody painting. Think that's factory? Or somebody touched it up. Plug looks brand new. Whole thing actually looks pretty clean. So we're gonna dribble a little bit of oil down that cylinder. Yeah, I don't see anything funky. Actually, does that have a broken? I'm gonna look better at it. The insulator looks kind of weird. Now look at the insulator. Kind of got a weird. That's better. A weird bird pattern on it. I thought it was where that real dark spot is right there. I thought I was missing a chunk right there. Kind of odd, huh? I'm gonna dribble a little bit of oil down the cylinder, and we'll pull it over. Yeah, we'll just give it a little. Watch, it doesn't even pull over. I was only kidding. It's locked up. It's not turning. That was supposed to be a joke. Well, there's that. All right. Maybe it's the maybe there's rust up on the. Actually, I think it's in gear. This shouldn't make any difference though. There's neutral. I gotta. There you go. Just a lock to keep you from starting in gear and falling out of the boat, I guess. Let me go yank that over a few times, let that oil. And we should be able to put it in. So that should be off with no spark. And that is kind of like start position, I think. Let's go throw the plug in it and we'll give her a couple yanks, see if we get any spark out of it. Zap myself. Let's get a good spark. Let's go throw that plug back in, and we'll see what we got for compression. So my guess, we got good compression, is that we are dealing with either a spark or a fuel issue, right? Let's go see how it feels. Yeah, compression's fine. Let's go look, see if we can get the float ball off of it. I want to try firing it yet. Let's go see what we got. What's our best way to access that? Looks like we're gonna have to pull that off. We get rid of a choke linkage right there. That should allow that to come out of the way. And we got a throttle cable. Got a fuel pump hanging on the other side. Maybe we can leave that on for now. Maybe see if we can get these two out and just kind of turn it up where we can get to the float ball. We'll see what kind of cruddies are happening inside there. Let's mark where that cable was. Looks like it's had a couple of different spots. It looks like it was clamped here originally. I'll throw that on there. Let's go see. Well, there's. Yeah. I think the cable's pulled a little too taut because all the way off, the throttle is not hitting the stop screw. You would think it would, but we'll deal with that later. That might have been someone's attempt to try to keep it running. piston oil out of a weird, that plate off. We got it dripping out of there. I don't know what to, shouldn't be anything there really. We didn't dribble anything on that, right? Yeah, because that was on the back of that. I put clear oil in it too. It wasn't like I put colored oil in. Alright, let's see if we can get that. Nope. Okay. Let's get a rag, work on the bench. We'll pop that off. We're gonna probably want to go clean that anyway. So we got going down here. A little bit of sludge and crap in the bottom, but not terrible. I wonder if should leave that alone. I wonder if it starts sucking air. If this is on here, it's got a fuel pump, draws fuel through a PET, through a fuel filter, and in. Looks like it's got another little fuel filter underneath it. I wonder if that's a check valve, that one down below. I just wonder if this is leaking a little bit. This has a fuel pump on it. If it starts sucking air when you get on it. Probably shouldn't have touched that, huh? Now we don't know. Yeah, let's crack it open. And those are not Phillips screws. They got the little dot on them. Japanese industrial standard. Looks like a Phillips, but it's not. You try using a Phillips, they'll want to strip out. If you ever work on Japanese motorcycles, you're taking the side covers off and you wonder why the screws are all stripping out. Calling them crappy screws. Nope. You're using the wrong screwdriver. I hope there's any gas in here. It's gonna come pissing out in a second. Going in. Don't even have to hit it. Pretty clean. Very clean, actually. Let's see if our float's working. It's your main jet going in. It's loose. It's not tight. Did that vibrate all the way out? That'd do it. Let me go grab a regular screwdriver. See how far that spins in. That'll throw your mix off big time. Unfortunately, when somebody says they had everything apart, you have to check everything. And let's go see what we got. A half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, 5.5 turns. Yeah, well, that was not going to run right. You think that would do it? See if we can get the emulsion tube to pop out of it. There you go. Sometimes they have an O-ring on the top too. Looking up inside, see if I see anything. I do not. Let's go get, we got it this far apart. Let's go just make sure the needle is clean. That's turns the fuel on and off. It'd be good if it was just that, huh? Yeah, looking at this surface right here, see if it's clean. And then the hole looks pretty decent. Fuel pump, I don't know if you, probably just leave that alone. I'm not quite sure how, it has to get a pulse from somewhere. My guess is one of these holes goes up. It's got to have a hole going up in here somewhere, and as when the engine runs, air's flowing through here, but it's not an even pulse. It's on, off, on, off, on, off. And what that does, there'll be a diaphragm inside here. It'll make that diaphragm move slightly, and that just runs it, a pulse pump. Very best way to call it. You want to look inside? Why not? We're here. Especially the fact that he said he's had everything apart. So my guess is if you're having run issues, you can take that fuel pump apart too. Yeah, so there's the two little plates in there. And my guess is where we open to, right there. Yeah, so there's a passage going through here, down here, and probably that hole right there runs up through the base of the carb. And it's going to run up through the base of the carb, through there, and right into the center. Yeah. So there'll be a a port. You'll be able to see it. There'll be a little hole right inside here that causes that air pulse to run that fuel pump. I'm going to rinse stuff out. Make sure, yeah, I'm going to be dainty with these. You don't want to, these are like little check valves, you know. We're just going to make sure they're not stuck. That one's not. And this one, yeah, that one's okay too. All right, let's go clean some of this stuff up. No sense putting it in the soaker. Let's see if we got an idle jet in here too. Let's see what happened with that one. Can I get it with the screwdriver? Yeah, let me get something with no shoulder on it. That one's tight. Yeah, that throttle cable being pulled is kind of, so I would think it would run super, like if the jet falls out, I would think it would run really rich. Would be its issue. I don't see any contamination there. It looks pretty good. So my guess is maybe that's why they pulled that throttle cable, because when it was backed off, it should have went down to the idle stop, and it wasn't. It was being held up about that far up off of idle. Try to keep it going. All right, I don't see anything else worth exploring. Probably take that side of it off. There's the diaphragm. I am not going to beat it up. Yeah, I'm not going to beat it up. I don't want to distort it. All right, as you were. Black chunk came out of there when I blew into it. I'm not sure if that was anything. Putting it together, another thing that I noticed, I was putting the idle jet and then the main jet. So the idle jet does not draw from the bottom of the carb like the main jet does. It draws through this circuit. I don't know if you'll be able to see. It would be a plug over that, so it can't draw fuel up. Idle circuit, main circuit. What it does have has a hole right there that bridges across and allows the fuel to go into the idle circuit. Well, if this was hanging down, that would make the emulsion tube sitting in normal position. This right here was going to block off that passage. So the reason probably why that set screw up there on the throttle while the cable was pulled so high was because it had no idle circuit, and had no idle circuit because that jet fell out, allowing the emulsion tube to drop down and clog off the passage. So same as it being clogged, it just, you know, no access to it. No fuel couldn't access that side of the carburetor. Whether that was the main problem, why he was having issues of it dying on him, I would think if you went to, like when you went to go on a night, like cruising across the lake full throttle, might have been okay. And then when you let off, it died on him, would be my guess. Again, it's a guess, we don't know. I didn't get that much information from him. Plus it was 2 years ago. I just remember him saying he tore it all apart. I want to say he took the cylinder head off too. He was like that much into it. All right. Going to continue to put the pieces back together on this, and we'll call it a win. Nice, I don't have to drop it in the ultrasonic cleaner. It's not usually every carburetor we take apart is got stalactites growing in it, you know. Get in there. There we go. And I'm also going to check that too. So actually, this one's going to be a little difficult, because we've got to go through a fuel pump. Just to make sure that this circuit is working correctly. Generally, you blow through the inlet of the fuel, and you say it's open that way. You flip it over and you see if the fuel shuts off. but we're going through a fuel pump, so that's not going to work for us. Here we put that car back on. I'm looking at the side of the engine here, and it says remote fuel system shut off and internal. So if we were running internal, would it be like that? Or like that? Which one's which? I would say, it's hard to say. Let's go look into that, because it has a little float. Yeah, a little sediment. Yeah, that's it. There's a little sediment bowl underneath there. Let's go get, it's probably got 2 screws holding it. Let's see if we can get that out of there. We'll pull that up and away. We'll look at all this stuff and we'll see if we have any issues going on with something not being right, you know, something not put together correctly. All right, let's see which way is the passage going through on the valve. So can't blow through it. I can blow through it. So down is internal tank. Is that what it says? Yeah. And if we want to shut it off, then we could draw through here. Let's see if I can blow through this side of it. There is a lot of resistance, so it should be a lot easier to get through than that. I think they're both the same way too, so that's going to indicate the fuel filter. Yeah, it puts up a decent fight. Let's go get, I believe is going to be a filter off of it. Should be, is that loose? Yeah, it's loose too. Think about stuff being loose, huh? What is that? That's got a bunch of crap in it. I would think that was supposed to have a little filter in there though. Yeah. Well, that'll make it hard to kind of blow through, huh? Oh yeah. Was that bugs? What are they? The whole thing's full. That'll make a mess. Hey, let's go clean that out. And kind of look like gnats to me, like little. Let's go see what we got for a fuel filter issue. I have a feeling this is on the way out. No, not too bad. I wonder if we should get some compressed air. Let's blow through that. That might have more crap that is lodged inside here, causing it to have that drag. At least we're finding a couple of problems. In other words, taking stuff apart and seeing nothing. All right, let's go see if it sneezes out some boogers. Oh, yeah. That is still, am I in the closed position? There we go. Okay. I say that's betterer. Go blow out the fuel filter too. So I don't think it's a bad filter. I'm also going to go check this. This should be my guess is a one-way. So I could blow through, but if I go to draw the other way, I can't, and that's the correct direction. Is it? If I have a fuel pump on this side, right? I'm drawing. I don't want to be able to draw through here. Well, maybe that's what this valve is, though. This valve should overcome that. I'm going to go put a piece of hose on that and draw through and make sure that I don't have an air leak going through that. These alternate fuel sources. Yeah, let's go put a hose on that. And right now I should not be able to but I can. So right now, this is leaking somewhere. It should be not be able to draw through that because that's going to suck air. Well, it's got more than one problem. Kind of what I was possibly thinking in the beginning. So whatever this check valve is not shutting off. What holds that in place? Can we? So if we are selecting, no, because the valve is over here. It's not going to influence. So the fuel pump is here, right? So there's our fuel pump. Machine's running. Whether this is on or off, if it's in the off position for here, it's going to want to draw through here. But even if I have this in the on position, if I have resistance here, which we did, we had that, the bowl was all full of crap in the center, and I could draw through here. If there's nothing here, there's nothing connected to this, we're sucking air. So that is a problem. I think we're starting to kind of chase down what the issue was here. I don't know if we want to try to look into this. We could see, like, my guess is probably got a bad O-ring on it. How does that come out of there? Looks like it's got a screw down below here. It's not even tight. Of course it's not tight. I think we may have to go around this thing and hit everything with a wrench. Is that tight? Yeah, so the check valve, if we turn the check valve around, would that work for us? Or no? Would that cause... Because right now, can I blow backwards on it? Hold on. Yeah, I can blow forward and back through that. So that's a fuel leak right there. 2. All right, there you go. Yeah, there's nothing we can really, it's all like one piece. Let's go clean it off real quick. See if there's a crack in it. That's what's doing it. All right, there. Let me clean it off. So I'm just going to show up. Let me see if I can get you on the... Right there, there's a crack going through it. That's where it's sucking air from, and that's why this valve is no good. So I'm kind of thinking maybe that's more the problem. Maybe, you know, I think he introduced a couple of problems too. He took it apart. Of course, the jet fell out of it, and, you know, a little bit of crap that was inside there. My guess so far is seeing that this is possibly the original problem, and he just didn't catch it. Yeah, so what can we do? Can we just, if we flip that around, I just want to disable this because it's not working anyway. If we flip that check valve around, maybe we just pinch it off, and we just pinch it off and put like a bolt in it or something for now. And we'll tag it saying that this is no good. Alright, I'm going to go and reassemble some stuff. Maybe we'll take a quick peek and see if there's anything else that's kind of goofy on it. I'm also going to take a 10mm wrench. I'm going to run around and see if there's anything else that's not bolted down like it should. Because we already found a couple things that were loose. So you can see there was a wrench on the cylinder head bolts. I don't see anything else. We still have the, you know, make sure the rest of it's still working. But let's go get all that back together and try to get some fuel in it. I have a barrel set up. I'll bring over. We can put some water in that. We'll set this on there and fire it up. See what we get. Got a little setup here. I made up. It's just got a pallet on the bottom of it and a barrel, and we got a support to sit the engine on. So let's go fill her up and stick that on there. I gotta get some two-stroke gas yet too. That's gonna take a little while to fill up, but it's going. So let's get our throttle hooked up. Doesn't look like, that throttle cable. Throttle cable is weird. It should be longer. Oh, there goes, it slipped. Let's go try and set it so that, like before, you can hear it, like when I pull down it. You hear I'm touching that screw. Before it was holding it open, there was an air gap there. Like I said, it probably had no idle circuit, amongst other problems. Let's go the other way so I can tighten it. So they were trying to physically hold it open a little bit more. There you go. Let's see if that looks more like. Yeah, that's more like it. I think we're almost touching. Yeah, I'm going to give it a little bit more slack. I guess as long as we get full throttle, right? Is the goal. Right, let's go with something like that. Yeah, definitely hit. You can see it hitting and going. So I want some room to be able to back off the screw too, because we might have to adjust the idle speed. So we got idle speed adjustment here, and then there's for the idle air fuel mix is another one here. I grabbed some rip-off fuel. It's like $9 a quart, but I'm cut for time this week. I don't have anything here to go put in it, so we got that. I do believe it's 51 on these also. Anything else we're forgetting? I ran around with a wrench. I didn't see anything else that was loose on it. You would think this clamp would be a little tighter though on that that cable that's down there. Just kind of sitting in there. All right, so that's our forward and reverse. We don't know if that has a gearbox set up for it. I disconnected that plug. It's not even in there right now. I could probably screw it back in, but I put a shoulder bolt in it, and that sealed that off, so we're not going to be sucking air through there. And so if it's good, it should have a water pump put on it, a little impeller, which is right about here, sitting in it, and then the gear oil changed in the bottom unit, but we're not that far yet. Get in there. So hopefully the water is deep enough, because there's a pickup for the water, and there's a tell, should be a tell, little hole somewhere where water pisses out. Once it gets running, it should piss water out of somewhere, generally right around here. And it's a visual to see that you have coolant going through it. I guess we'll find out. It might be that tube right there. Yeah, I think so. So that'll tell us that the water pump is going. Sometimes it is working, but it gets clogged. The little tube gets clogged. Again, we're not to that point yet. Let's go throw some gas in it, fire it up, see what it does. Pretty sad when the fuel you're putting in it costs half what the motor cost. Oh, you know what? I gotta tighten up. I got a hose I didn't tighten up yet. Talking about the other guy. Talking shit about the other guy. Here I am. It's got a weird hose setup it's got on it. Like a hose that goes over under a hose. I don't think we'll put a ton of fuel in it, but we'll put enough in it so that it we'll put like 1.5 inches in it maybe. That's good. We'll only put $5 in it. I don't know how many times it's going to take to start because we don't have a, you know, the carburetor is empty. So it may take a little bit. It looks like the fuel filter already filled up. Let's look for leaks. Looks like the filter already filled with fuel. So we're going to make sure that we have choke on. We have no spark. And the throttle's all the way down. I believe it shuts spark off. I'm not positive of that. It might be all the way down and shutting the fuel off. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's go give her, I believe start is going to be something like right there. Let me pop you in the stand. We'll give her a couple of yanks. Probably throw a gas cap on it. Might be an advisable idea. I also didn't put, here's the vent too. The vent has to be open. Looks like it is. I can do that 2 hands. Yeah, so air can come into the fuel tank. So it doesn't, like, you put your finger over, you put a straw in your drink, right? You put your finger over, you lift up on it, the fuel stays. It's kind of the same idea. If the fuel can't draw down, if air can't replace the fuel that's missing, so that has to be open. Let's see if it's open or closed. Yeah. It was closed. Okay. I shouldn't be able to floor it out, I don't think. Alright, let's go back you up and give her a couple yanks. And it should go. There it goes. Alright, let's go get rid of the choke. Especially if you've got water pissing. Nice and quiet. Yeah, it is. So the water pump's working. Let's go put this over by the door. Open the door up, and we'll let it air out and let it run for a while. What time is it now? 3:50. You said on my phone. Yeah, we're at 3:50. So put it by the door, we'll let it run for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and make sure we're not dying or anything, and then we'll put a load on it, we'll pop it in gear, and we'll let it go. Actually, let's go. It's gonna spit water. Can you slow it down more? See where the idle. Let's go adjust that air fuel mix. It bounces so much you can't get on it. There we go. That was way out. Go till it dies and then back up. That sounds pretty good there. So running it in again. Just don't like that. Okay, let's back it up. But I run it in, it's making it lean. The more you take it out, it runs rich. You want to run it in just so it starts to kind of screw up a little bit, then back it up, maybe about another half a turn past that. We'll check it again when it warms up. Sounds like it's evening out pretty good. You want to try popping it, it's gonna throw water. Good. Gearbox is working. Neutral. Let's go for a reverse. Yeah. Reverse doesn't have as much thrust because of the way the propeller shaped. Alright, let's go wheel it over by the door and we'll let it run for a little while. Maybe we'll rev it up a little too. Just a moment ago. That's all the way down. And I don't see a shut-off switch, so I think we can always use this, I guess, but I wonder if the throttle is supposed to go all the way down when you shut it off, or you just push it. Okay. And or if you pull it off, it probably shuts off also. So that's the shut off, not this. Go fire it back up again. Good. Because that throttle's all the way down. So that's our idle setup, which you can adjust with that. We'll pop it in gear. That's more resistance than it would normally get to, because normally the boat would start moving. You wouldn't be pushing water against the wall, you know. We'll give her a hair of throttle. I don't have a screwdriver with me. Yeah, probably right about there would be a good idle. So enough where it's not pushing the water out of the barrel. We'll let it run like that. Good. Want to do some laundry? There's much more water flowing through the system than what's that. That's just a tell. The rest of the water comes back out through the center of the propeller. So there's more water flowing through it than what you see right there. I have a propeller from a different one. I'll show you. It's for a bigger one than this. But we'll let this one go. I see it burning off a little bit of stuff. So I do have some other ones that are going to have their turn. There's a larger Mercury that is here. I don't even remember where it came from anymore. And then a Yamaha. I think somebody gave me the Yamaha, and that is kind of, I think it's missing. It's missing a prop, and you know, who knows what else. So my thought is, I don't have time this week, but we could possibly bring it to the boat. That's what it looks like, the little impeller down there now. These are like little rubber legs on them. They bend over, and this thing is off center. So as that's spinning around, the legs get bent over and then they stand up straight, and that's how it draws and pumps water through the system. Well, after a while, these get old. That little rubber leg, let's see if I can open it. There you go. So those little rubber legs bend like that. It's in a bigger circle, but it's, pretend that's the same size. So it'll be against a wall, something like that. It'll be like that, but over here they all get bent. So it draws water in on a large opening. As it spins around, it pushes, now it's got like pressure behind it because the chamber has gotten smaller, and it pushes it through, and that's how it pumps water through the system. Well, if these sit for a long time, whatever one was in that parked position kind of wants to stay that way. Again, who knows how long that motor's been sitting like that. So it's a good idea to change these every other year or so, depending on, you know, what scenario, how much you're using it, and that kind of thing. But this is one for a bigger one. This is for my pontoon boat. This is the kit that comes with that. So that one needs to be done too. You can see that one's already got like a built-in curve to it. Anyways, that's for another day on these. And I was getting gas. I was telling him I was working on an outboard, and the guy's like, I got a little, one of those little engines, you put a gas in the tank in the back of it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm working on. And he goes, yeah, I think it's silver and red, because I think it's a Yamaha. So that might work out. We may have two of the same. I don't know what horsepower rating it is, but he may have another one of those. Might be able to make two out of one, and that one is unknown to me. But maybe we go through a couple of the engines, and we'll bring them all to the boat at the same time, kind of run them. Go back down there and check on that one, make sure it's not overheating. Yeah, looks like it's doing what it should. Yeah, if you're able to see with the propeller out, it dumps a good amount of water in. Again, this is a tiny engine, but still, the water, that's not all of it. Nice. Let's go in, stall, see if it stays running. Yeah, I still pop it in neutral. Kill it. I'm gonna put all the covers back on it. We got a cover that goes on here, and then the top one. And we'll throw that on there, and we'll run it for just a little bit more. How's our water looking? The exhaust is also going down through the center of the prop and coming out. It's kind of like the water, the coolant water, and the exhaust exit down. It usually comes out through the center of the prop on there, and then there's intake on the sides is where the water gets drawn up, and you're essentially putting, you know, the exhaust into the water, including whatever premix oil. So that's why you see the water getting a little on the gunky side, like whatever this crap is sitting on top. It's probably a little bit of oil, my guess, but that's why a lot of them have gone to the 4-strokes because of that. All right, so much quieter it is with the cover on. Choke was pulled out. I flooded it. The choke was pulled out. There we go. Let it clear up for a second. No more $50. Worth more than that now. Alright, I'll let that run some more. I was putting the cover on. I hit the choke out. Didn't know it. Just put in gear. I'll let that run for about 20 minutes or so. Just make sure you don't have any issues. Make sure it stays going. I'm going to run it for a while. You can see the water flow stop though. So either the pump is falling apart, or sometimes just debris gets stuck up in there. That's all it was. A little bit of crap gets stuck in there and the tail doesn't show. Again, it's picking water up. If you're in a pond or something, you got to remember there's really no intake filter on that. So in a swampy area, that can happen. Very common. Just give it a little woohoo. Good. Still should have one put it in anyway, though. You get ready to shut it down. Let's give it to beans. We're going to splash some water out of it, but what the hell. Awesome. So that worked out pretty good. Where are we at? We are at 4:21. Yeah, so we got about a half hour. Maybe we ran about 25 minutes of that whole thing, and it's looking pretty decent. Again, that's the 2-stroke oil kind of sitting on top, and hence why they started going into the 4-stroke stuff, because they do kind of, you know, pollute the lakes. This one not so much. It's 50-to-1. It kind of burns it more. But some of the older ones, they had like a 20-to-1, 16-to-1 mixed on them. They really made a sheen going across the pond. It's like I kicked out some water, huh? Yeah, so I think the original problem was that valve that was on there, the auxiliary fuel intake, having that crack in there, sucking air right there. And that was a whole problem to begin with. It was probably good when he was idling, but as soon as he got on the gas and put a load on it, it started using more fuel. It probably just couldn't keep up with the fuel, and would just start sucking air, and then it would die on him. And then he took it apart, did a bunch of work on it, didn't get it back together correctly, and you know, probably just didn't run that jet up tight enough. Took it out again, and then it had another problem of, you know, now the air fuel mix is all over the place, and he tried working with the throttle cable and keeping it revved up a little higher than the stop that it was on, and you know, just essentially dug a hole and gave up. But worked out good. It's no longer a $50 engine. I'd say that's, you know, you're probably $500-600 for something like this. And I'm gonna go look for that on eBay, see if we can go find another one, put that in. But yeah, we could just run off that tank on there. That's there. Probably the more common way it's used anyway. I don't have a tank for it. All right, guys. With that, I think we're all set. We're gonna go collar on this one. That worked out fairly well for us, and you know. And parts for the MG, I ordered about $600 worth of parts. It's gonna take a little bit to come in, so That may or may not be the next video, I'm not sure. And again, probably might go jump on a couple of outboards and go on them if this one does well and I have the barrel set up. So with that, guys, I'm going to go sign off. Thank y'all for hanging out with me, doing a bit of wrenching, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, later.